Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're taking, well, a monumental shortcut into music history.
That sounds intriguing.
Yeah, we're diving headfirst into what many call the definitive story of the band that basically defined modern culture.
Oh, the Beatles.
Ah, okay, so the anthology.
Exactly. Specifically, the landmark international bestseller, the Beatles Anthology. It's just been reissued for its 25th anniversary.
Right.
And our mission today, for you listening, is to kind of move past all the myths, all the biographies about them, and instead understand why this specific book, this anthology, really remains the single most crucial source. It's their history, but told purely, completely in their own voices.
Yeah.
So why is that format so powerful? And I guess, why is this book such a big deal again right now?
Well, that context is really important because, like you said, it's the 25th anniversary. But it's not just a book reissue. It's actually part of this huge global co-release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you've got the book launching alongside that big Disney Plus documentary series. All right, the Get Back series was huge, but this is connected to the original anthology release.
Exactly, connected to the original timing.
Hmm.
And there's also a fully restored and expanded music collection out, too. So the book, it's kind of the anchor here, isn't it?
The anchor, how so?
Well, it provides the core narrative. It's the raw material, basically, that the films and the music then draw from. Their own words form the foundation.
Okay, let's unpack that. The core source material, because, in the world of rock history, everyone's got an opinion.
Oh, absolutely. So many takes.
But getting the actual, unfiltered voices of the people who are actually there creating it, that's incredibly rare.
It really is.
And the structure of this book is what hits you straight away. It's not a traditional biography.
Mm-hmm.
It's this innovative oral history. It weaves together all their memories, their recollections, but without a narrator stepping in. It's just them.
And that's what gives it such, authority. I mean, the sources actually call it the only story of the Beatles by the Beatles, which is a bold claim, but
probably fair in this case.
I think so.
But
because this wasn't something commissioned by, some outside writer. It was created originally with the full explicit support of Paul, George, and Ringo, and crucially, Yoko and Lennon, too.
Right. And that immediately tackles that whole authenticity problem, doesn't it?
Totally.
If the band themselves or their estates are sanctioning it and participating, you kind of skip past decades of just speculation.
You do. And what really elevates it, I think, beyond just a collection of separate memoirs, is how they integrated John's perspective.
Yeah, how do they manage that?
Well, even though he was gone by the time the original project came together, they made absolutely sure his voice was present and central. His words were, and this is the phrase they use, painstakingly compiled.
Painstakingly compiled. From where?
From transcripts, interviews, recordings, various sources from all over the world. They worked really hard to ensure his narrative thread felt seamless alongside the others. So, for anyone listening who really craves that direct input, that feeling of hearing it straight from them, having the band involved in curating their own legacy like this, it's kind of the ultimate form of scholarship, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the gold standard. But, that format, the oral history, it does raise an interesting point. When you have 4 different people remembering things, years, even decades later.
Memories can be tricky.
Exactly. Their memories are bound to conflict sometimes, right? Does the book try and, smooth those differences over? Or does it just let them sit there side by side, showing that, hey, even the people involved remember stuff differently?
That's actually one of the strengths, I think. It really embraces those distinctions. It doesn't try to force a single, neat consensus narrative.
So it gives you the different takes.
It gives you the full, sometimes messy recollections. You'll read Paul's take on a key moment, and then right after, you get George's perspective or Ringo's. It's kind of like the ultimate Rashomon effect for rock history.
Yeah, I like that.
It shows that the truth of the Beatles was always a bit subjective, even for them. It grounds the whole history in, emotional truth, not just aiming for some single historical fact.
I love that.
Yeah.
It treats their story like a real conversation, not just some carved-in-stone monolith.
Yeah.
And speaking of grounding it, the book handles this massive historical scope by, laying it all out chronologically.
It does, yeah. Very logically arranged, year by year. It compiles the complete history, right from them growing up in Liverpool.
The very beginnings.
All the way through Beatlemania, the studio years, right up to the final breakup. It manages this incredible feat of taking four, let's face it, incredibly distinct world-changing personalities
Hmm.
and presenting their words in turn. It maps their journey from, total anonymity to absolute global saturation.
And this is where that oral history format really shines, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's the specific human anecdotes that stick with you. It's not just dates and facts. It's a collection of these really personal stories that just show the sheer scale of the change they went through.
Totally. We're talking about details that kind of pull them off that godlike pedestal.
Yeah, bring them down to earth a bit.
Right. Put them back in the sweaty van or the rehearsal hall. Like, take that story from the early chapters, Ringo trying to take his entire drum kit home on the bus.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading that. It's brilliant.
It's such a small human detail, isn't it? And
Yeah.
so completely at odds with the massive stadiums and private jets that were just around the corner. It really shows the absurdity of how fast things changed for them.
That's the genius of using their own words, though.
Yeah.
Only Ringo would remember or think to tell that story because back then it was just a massive, annoying logistical hassle for him personally.
Yeah, before he was Ringo Starr, legendary drummer.
Exactly. It's a moment of just delightful normalcy before the absolute hurricane hit.
And that contrast, that sort of whiplash, runs through the whole book. You jump from Ringo wrestling with the Liverpool bus timetable
All right.
to these truly surreal, defining moments later on, like their much anticipated, slightly awkward audience with Elvis.
Oh, the Elvis meeting.
Right, you get the full spectrum,
Yeah.
The struggle, the sublime, the weirdness, all of it.
And crucially, the book really digs into the core business, right? The actual creation of the music.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It details the making of these, well, era-defining albums. It specifically dives into the creative atmosphere around albums like Street Pepper. What does the book tell us about that album's creation that maybe a standard biography might miss?
Well, instead of a biographer just saying, oh, they felt creative pressure, you get the band members actually describing that pressure, that experimentation.
In their own words.
Exactly. You'll read Paul talking about the endless hours they spent just searching for the right sound, fiddling with tape loops, or George reflecting on how detached they sort of became from the outside world during those intense sessions.
Right, locked away in Abbey Road.
Yeah. You're reading directly from them how that massive shift in music actually happened, session by session, argument by argument sometimes. It makes the magic feel, well, tangible and like hard work, not just some accident.
That depth is so critical. And of course, the book gives you the full story, the whole arc, right up to the end.
It does. It doesn't shy away from the difficult stuff, the poignant conclusion. It details those final moments, including that very last photo session they did together at John's house, Tittenhurst Park.
Wow. That must be quite something to read about from their perspectives.
It really encapsulates their whole relationship, doesn't it? The friendship, the unbelievable success, the creative bond, and then, yeah, the eventual messy disintegration. It truly feels like a complete history.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly, because this huge book isn't just words on a page. It's also this stunning visual treasure trove.
Oh, absolutely.
The description says it's brimming with over 1,300 images.
Mm.
Photos, documents, memorabilia.
And the key thing here is the sheer volume of stuff that hadn't been seen before. The sources confirm that the vast majority, like most of those 1,300 plus images, were never before published.
Seriously, most of them.
Yeah. And crucially, they weren't just scraped from, public archives or press photos. They were pulled directly from the personal archives of Paul, George, Ringo, and Yoko Ono Lennon.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we're talking genuine insider stuff, like family snapshots, maybe, private documents, candid backstage moments that, a professional photographer would never have caught.
Exactly that kind of thing. It takes the visual side of the story to the same deeply personal level as the oral history. It's their stuff.
That's incredible access.
It is. And the memorabilia, too. Things like unique documents, original concert posters, maybe handwritten notes, set lists, rare ticket stubs. That stuff also came from deep inside their inner circle. From Apple, their company, from EMI records, from other trusted associates. So the visual part really provides crucial evidence and adds this whole other layer of emotion that backs up the memories.
Right, it makes it all feel more real.
Definitely. And another smart thing they did to make sure the story had real depth was bringing in voices who weren't actually in the band, but were right there for basically every major moment. Ah, the supporting cast.
Yeah, the close associates. They provide that critical context, the view from slightly outside the Fab Four bubble.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, why is including someone like Neil Aspinall, their road manager, so important when we already have the story from Paul, George, John, and Ringo?
Well, Aspinall gives you the perspective of, like, the workhorse.
Hmm.
The guy dealing with the non-celebrity reality of Beatlemania.
Right. The logistics guy.
He saw the chaos on the road, the endless travel, the exhaustion, the sheer weirdness of it all, and the emotional toll that fame took. His narrative is kind of the essential counterpoint to the glamour. It grounds the whole thing in the day-to-day grind.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts behind the magic.
Exactly. And then, of course, you absolutely need George Martin, the producer.
The fifth Beatle himself.
Right.
Right.
His contributions give you that crucial technical and musical depth. I mean, the band can tell you what they wanted to achieve sonically.
But Martin explains how they actually did it. How they manipulated sound, how they pushed the studio technology, how they achieved those revolutionary effects. He basically gives the creative process its engineering blueprint.
That makes the studio sections make so much more sense. And who else? Derek Taylor.
Yeah, Derek Taylor, their spokesman, especially during the later period, he helped manage their public image during the absolute height of the craziness, the cultural phenomenon.
So he saw how the world reacted.
Exactly. He provides that sort of external perspective, what the world saw versus what was actually happening inside the bubble. So you put all those supporting voices together with the four main ones, and you really do get this, like, 360-degree view of the whole thing.
It sounds incredibly comprehensive.
It really is. And if you kind of tie all these threads together, the oral history, the chronology, the visuals, the supporting voices, what emerges is the overall sort of emotional character of the book. The sources sum it up perfectly, I think. It's warm, frank, funny, poignant, and bold.
That sounds about right for the Beatles.
It captures their essence as actual people navigating this completely impossible situation, not just as, musical legends carved in stone.
That mix of emotion and honesty, that frankness you mentioned, that's probably why this book still feels so vital and why this new edition is such a benchmark.
I think so.
So the final takeaway for you, listening right now, is that this huge authorized book really does reflect the music that has inspired generations, like the sources say. It gives you this complete raw look at the musical and social earthquake they created, but told entirely by the people who caused it. It's really the closest you can possibly get to sitting down and having them tell you the whole story themselves, with no filters.
Yeah, warts and all, as they say.
Exactly. So given that the book is just packed with over 1,300 images, most of them never seen before, here's a final thought for you to chew on. Which specific previously unpublished image from that massive collection, maybe a photo, maybe a ticket stub, maybe a quick handwritten note, which one image do you think would unlock the most surprising insight into their personal lives, or maybe their creative process? Something to think about next time you put on one of their records.
That's a good question. There must be some gems in there.
Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for listening to this deep dive into the Beatles. And if you like ARE Kindle books, please join us at bookcheapskate.com, where we publish a daily list of great Kindle books currently offered for free.